Welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show on 94.7 The Pulse. Music, interviews, news, and, well, Two Blokes Chatting. Now, here are the two blokes.
This is the Two Blokes Chatting radio show, and it actually is now because he's back. We found him. Didn't turn up for work this morning, but we've flushed him out. Neil Butler, good morning to you. Welcome to the Two Blokes Radio chatting show. And also welcome to Katrina Umbach sitting there beside you.
Well, not so much beside me, but socially distant appropriately so in the studio here at another location. Thank you, Robert. And we caught a little bit of the show earlier today. And I will remind you that stick and string is, in fact, a registered trademark that I use. I'll let you get away with it this once since I wasn't here in the studio to use it.
Terribly sorry. Hey, were you impressed with the birthday intro? It wasn't totally smooth like normal, but it was a reasonably good festival, I would have thought.
I must confess that yesterday afternoon I thought to myself, you know what I should be doing? I should get a list of birthdays for Uncle Jeff to Rob to read out on the wireless on Saturday morning, and then I forgot all about it in the rush that is what today is going to be all about, and forgot about it. So well done you, I did hear that.
No, very good. Some high quality human beings having birthdays today.
Good seeing, incidentally.
Yes. Now you two have got a big day, midday today. It starts and it goes for a bloody long time. Your intention is to raise some money, and I know the original start was 10 grand, but I don't think I'm breaking any serious. I don't know what I'm saying, but I think you probably got 10 covered, haven't you?
I would have thought so. Indeed. I'm going to let Katrina tell you all about it.
Yeah, please do. Katrina, welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show. You've been on here before, telling your story, which is not a good one, to lose your husband at such a young age in a situation that, you know, in a better place could have been avoided, but that has driven you to make the world a better place, to make someone else's lives better in the future. So good on you for that, and tell us all about the day, how it started, and what you hope to get out of it.
Oh, thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me again. Well, it was just I'd been listening to another radio station.
Oh no!
and had been enjoying the camaraderie and community that came from it, and I was looking for another way to raise some more money for the Heart Foundation, because that's kind of become my purpose and passion now. And I approached Mr. Neil Butler to see if we could utilise his services, and that's where Heart A Day was formed. And we're looking to have a good old-fashioned radio spot today.
Now, I don't think people at the Pulse will mind a bit of cross-promotion, because the dial may be stuck on the Pulse for many. Those that are technologically sound and can turn a computer on, there is a radio station called GoRadio.live, which Neil runs and manages, plays magnificent music 24/7, but today it's going to be converted into almost a Royal Children's Hospital appeal day type arrangement, where the music will still flow, but there'll be a lot of interesting people to talk to and people to connect. So tell us some of the really good guests you've got organised.
Oh, well, me.
Oh, yeah, of course.
First cab off the rank, someone called Katrina Umbach.
Yeah.
We better pump her up.
No, there are... I think everyday people are real heroes, and we've got a few of those speaking today that have survived cardiac arrest or have had a brush with heart disease and have, taken steps and had some preventative treatment and are now well aware of their risk and are in control of their life. I think another good one is Dr. Anne Webster, who is our federal MP for the Mallee. She's a really great person to speak to about the provision of healthcare in regional and rural towns. The Heart Foundation are behind it. We've got the CEO, Kellyanne Jolly, talking to us. We have Dr. Jasmine Just from the Heart Foundation talking about health prevention. And then the big one, I think Two Blokes Chatting interviewed this bloke a couple of weeks ago. Greg Page is going to get on board and tell us about his experience with cardiac arrest and the magnificent work that he does in that space. And I guess the thing with Greg and us is that Heart a Day is more about the preventative side, and Heart of the Nation and Greg Page's work is more about what to do when someone is having a cardiac arrest. So it's that intervention. So I think we complement each other quite well.
Yeah, it was good to have a wiggle on. We've had, Neil and I have interviewed some really interesting people, but to have someone of that talent, skill and world renown, but with a great story to tell, it was a great little interview, and I'm glad you've got him back again today, because he's every bit as passionate on this subject as you are, Katrina, because unfortunately you've lost a very key person, and he's got a second chance made possible by technology that is available, but perhaps not as well used as it could be. And I suppose that's his message combined with yours.
Yeah, and it's just awareness. You only know what you know, don't you? And I guess for what I'm trying to change is to be more vested, governments be more vested in preventative healthcare provisions in regional places rather than the intervention. So waiting until someone presents to an emergency department or has that cardiac arrest out on the street, and then, trying to get them to the nearest hospital, which is 600 kilometres away.
Yeah, we've had an interesting social, well, not experiment, it's been forced upon us, but with the COVID, where it's a very difficult decision for government and leadership to make when we're talking about a healthy financial, economic, social economic decision, and they don't always get it right. You try and walk that balance, but this is a very good point you make, that when you see investment in health that's underfunded and things go wrong, as we've seen in this particular case, it is quite devastating. But you've also got to keep the wheels of community and social enterprise working as well. But I think out of this, hopefully future governments will learn that investment into health is a pretty good investment. Oh, yes.
Without that health is your wealth. And if you have a community that is healthy, then it sounds corny, but it will be wealthy. The community will thrive, in terms of life, but also in terms of economics.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a very good thing.
Is that I've had a preliminary conversation with Dr. Anne Webster in terms of getting organised for today. Brackets, it's pre-recorded.
Oh, okay, good.
She wasn't able to join us today, so we pre-recorded, and we had a really interesting chat. One of the things that we talk about is the fact that you're 60% more likely to die from heart disease if you live in a regional centre such as Geelong or Mildura. I'm getting a glare across the desk here about Geelong being a regional centre, but it is. But you are 60% more likely, that's almost twice as likely to die from heart disease because you're in a regional location. You add to that the juxtaposition. You like that for a word?
No, I don't know that word. I've never heard of it.
The overlay of the COVID situation, and of course Katrina being from Mildura, where they've recently had a COVID scare, and someone presents at emergency with COVID, and suddenly 60 people in their nursing and doctoring and medical workforce can't go to work for 2 weeks. So you've not only got the impact of having what I will call limited health opportunities in places like Mildura, but then they take out a significant proportion of the people who can provide that care. So it just multiplies that problem. Whereas in Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane or anything like that, clearly, I'm not saying it's better or anything like that, but if 60 people can't work at the Royal Melbourne Hospital, then potentially you can bring some people in from the Kids Hospital or from Monash, or you have that ability to do that. But when you are literally the only hospital within 1 hour's drive of Mildura, and Mildura is relatively local. I mean, some of those places out in the back end of nowhere, Broken Hill, for example, how do they deal with it if the hospital suddenly hasn't got the people there? So it's a really critical importance thing, particularly in regional.
Definitely. Your day today isn't just music and chatting. There's a bit of fun, and people can get involved in purchasing high-quality goods that you have in a silent auction. That's always interesting and always fun. Tell us about some of the goodies there.
Oh, I'm doing that. I've just got the nod. We have got, I'll just quickly run through them, a couple of $100 worth of gift cards from a very, very well-known hardware retailer who has very big green stores. We have got an accommodation package with a wine and cheese experience in the Grampians. We have got a voucher for buying jewellery online or in person in Mildura, $400 worth of vouchers for clothes to be bought in Mildura online as well, obviously. We have got an organisation called Untypical, or a Geelong-based business, who are offering a podcasting, coaching and hosting program. We have got a collection of power tools. We have got a dozen mixed Shiraz from the Grampians wine region, and we have a training and leadership course from a sort of corporate community leadership course as well. They're all available, and we've, at the moment, the bids add up to around about $3,500. So we're really excited about that. But if people want to go and have a look at that, they can find that on the Heart of Day website as well.
Now, being a Scottish skinflint as I am, when something comes up, did you think morally you should donate to, and then you think, well, I can't really afford to do that, but I do need a new angle grinder in my garage? You can actually do two things at once, can't you? You can make a donation, because this will be a full donation, presuming these goods have all been donated, so you can make a donation, but you get an angle grinder on your bench in the garage as well. That has got to be a good way to get a double whammy experience.
Yeah, and the question of tax deductibility is one we need to be very careful of here, in terms of please seek your own financial advice. But if you make a straight-out donation, because the money doesn't come anywhere near us. When you use the Heart of Day website, it takes you directly through to the Heart Foundation website. And yes, it is acknowledged as being part of Heart of Day, but the money goes directly into the bank accounts of the Heart Foundation, and immediately a receipt is sent back. So you can then do the tax deductibility. In the auctions, it's questionable as to whether you are buying goods or whether you are being awarded a prize because you were the one that put in the highest donation. That's one to have a chat to your accountant about, but certainly what you're saying is right.
Yeah. Katrina, you probably best answer this question. For the reasons Neil explained, and they're obvious that it has to be done that way, but when your work today goes into a big pool of money, which the Heart Foundation may collect many, many millions of dollars a year in donations, and your little piece goes in, it probably doesn't give you a lot of right or autonomy to go to the Heart Foundation and say, righto, there's my bit, I want you to spend it in this area. But have you been constantly working with the Heart Foundation on ways where you think, from personal experience, that some of their funding could go to help regional places?
Well, I think it's more a case of being connected with the Heart Foundation to help with advocacy. That's one of their important roles, as they advocate to governments and anyone who will listen about heart disease and how it is Australia's biggest killer. They've been really helpful to me with my campaign of getting an angiogram and catheterisation lab. They're very supportive. The research that they conducted revealed that 73.7% of people in northwest Victoria, so the area that I live in, die of coronary heart disease. So that research that they do is fundamental in providing the facts that the government want to know when they're doing that cost-benefit analysis. And they need the money to do that. They need to be able to pay people to do that research. And I also live in the hope. A lot of people have said to me, well, all the money that you've raised over the past 3 years, Katrina, you could have put in the bank and it could have grown, and you could build the angiogram and catheterisation lab yourself. But that's not the issue. The issue is attracting qualified cardiologists and allied health nurses to work in those places. So if we can't do that, then I live in the hope that the Heart Foundation, with all of the magnificent research that they do in terms of all types of heart disease, they might discover that one preventative tool that you might not need an angiogram anymore to be able to screen for blockages or narrowing of your arteries. That's more cost effective and can be easily accessed by anyone, regardless of where you live in Australia. So I think it's just trying to stay ahead of the game.
And it's a really good extra message about this that we've talked about before, about a medical hub, because at the moment you're looking at a place like Broken Hill or Mildura potentially needing to go to Adelaide or Melbourne for this type of treatment. But if you plonk one of these machines and the skills to operate it in Mildura, it makes life so much better for another ring of people that then take the pressure off the capital city. So the people in Broken Hill have a 2-hour drive rather than a 6-hour drive, and the people at Pinaroo and Oyen and Witchy-Proof, all of a sudden their world has completely changed because Mildura now has the technology.
Yeah, we call it the Tri-State area, and if you draw a circle around Mildura, you'll capture communities from New South Wales, South Australia and Victoria, and they're all smaller towns in Mildura. We like to call ourselves the unofficial capital of the Tri-State area, and to me, it just makes sense.
I think the other thing too that Katrina highlighted earlier was that if you think about a cardiologist saying, well, I can earn X amount of dollars in Victoria, my kids can go to a very expensive private school in the eastern suburbs, I can put my yacht out on the bay, why would I want to go and live in Mildura? Because it's a long way from anywhere. But if it starts to build a momentum that says, you know what, we've got an angiogram service, let's use that as the example, and the cardiologist is going to come to Mildura 3 days a week to use it or whatever it is, and therefore, by definition, that means we've got slightly better conditions at the university because we've got some access to some intelligence around the heart, which means, therefore, more kids will want to go to uni there. Therefore, you just build this momentum. Yeah. And I think, the more... And I think this is where it's really important that we've got Dr. Anne Webster on board. Being a nationals person, I'm not, as you know, Rob, not my area of expertise, but because she is focused on regional Australia, because that's what her party stands for, there's an opportunity there to actually start to push that message at federal level, and therefore those opportunities may become a bit more apparent. That we saw what happened when Geelong lost the Ford factory and we lost the smelter and stuff down here. Suddenly the state government said, no, let's move infrastructure, the work cover and all those sort of people down here. Well, if something similar could happen in Mildura or somewhere similar, it doesn't have to be Mildura, we're just talking about Mildura because that's the obvious flavour of the day, but it starts to build these places that are then self-sufficient in so many ways.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Anne Webster is serious about supporting this, she is never, ever going to have a better opportunity than right now, because she doesn't only just have hold of the government's ear, she's giving it a fair old twist at the moment. So a few dollars for Mildura, I reckon, would be very easy to find at the moment. They've got some very good bargaining power, so I hope she does a really good job, driven by the work of Katrina and others in this area, to get this seemingly sensible investment into the capital of the tri-state corner of where you live. It just seems so logical.
And I think the other thing that we've proven in the last 18 months, again, juxtaposed upon us, I'm going to use that word several times.
I like it.
Become a two blokes chatting word, is the fact that because of what's COVID has shown us, you don't have to be within 25 k's of your workplace. And so what it means is that I could be a high-flying corporate CEO leader type person who works out of a Collins Street office and live in Mildura.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and becoming more and more common, yes.
Yeah, or Orange, or Rockhampton, or, it doesn't, we're talking about Mildura for obvious reasons, but it could be anywhere, and that's why Geelong's house prices are going nuts at the minute. You can live in the greatest part of the state and not have to worry about getting on the train every morning. It's a really important opportunity that needs to be grabbed.
Or the Port Phillip ferry.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, I was metaphorically speaking.
No, I like it. There was a good opportunity, though, because it's right across the bay. Beautiful at this time of year. Hey, Neil, normally this time on a Saturday morning, you are particularly grumpy about something, but I sense today there's not a lot of grumpiness in you, because this is a great day you're about to embark upon at midday. But
Oops.
Oh dear, you are still grumpy. What's got up your dander this week?
Well, to be fair, Katrina and I have spent a lot of time on social media this week. You may have noticed one or two posts about Heart Day over the journey.
Yep.
But one thing that is becoming increasingly annoying on Facebook in particular, but it's starting to sneak into LinkedIn as well, are people who put posts up that say something like, I bet you can't give me a name that starts with A and ends in A. Or I bet you can't give me a dog's name that doesn't have the letter E in it. they are becoming increasingly more apparent, and people, friends of mine, are saying, oh, yeah, I can come up with one, Fido, you know. What's actually happening is there are people sitting in various nefarious places across the world going, Ron Cameron down there in Geelong, he said Fido. I'll bet you any money his dog's name is Fido. And people build databases of this data, and then bingo, bango, bongo, they ring your bank and say, hello, I'm Rob Cameron, and you want to know? Oh, well, my dog's name is Fido. And they go, must have him. This is how identity theft happens. So if you are on Facebook doing that, stop. If you are a person responding to those, you are nuts. That is all.
That's not actually a long run. That's a community service announcement. Good on you.
Well, let me be grumpy. Stop putting it on there, you lot. It's blocking up.
Yeah, you are silly. I was guilty 5 years ago doing that, and then a good friend of mine who sadly, that same good friend who, after last weekend, Neil is no longer with us, suggested to me that exactly what you just said, and he said it in even stronger words, alerted me to the fact.
Video, probably.
And I stopped and had to think about it and thought, yeah, that's very sensible. So no more. So ladies and gentlemen, don't do it. If your friend might think it's a fun game for you to play, to put on where of the places you've been around the world and all of that sort of questionnaire thing, do not, under any circumstances, answer any one of them, and encourage your friends to stop putting them on Facebook and or Instagram and or LinkedIn or whatever. They are designed to, as Neil said, extract data. Just don't do it, please.
Well, an obvious one is, they put up, people will put, this is what you're getting for Christmas based on your birth month.
Yeah.
Worse, your acting dance name is, you take it from, the month and the date of your birthday, right? And so it might say, for...
Or the house that you grew up in.
Yeah, that's another.
Yeah, there's another one, yep.
The 3rd of August, you might say, number 3 is pizza, and August is head, right? So your dance name is Pizza Head. And so, you go into the column, ha, 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 I'm Pizza Head. And meanwhile, sitting over there in the back blocks of nowhere, someone goes, Rob Cameron, birthday, 3rd of August. Right, so it's not rocket science, but seriously, think about what value does it provide? To me, if you're going to do it, choose a different date. That'll confuse them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's funny. Pizza Head. I thought Rob was Pizza Head. He's Banana Nose. Hereafter known as Banana Nose.
Yeah, very, very true. No, that is good. Now, people need to, if they wish to, they've got 12 hours. You don't have to tune in all afternoon on GoRadio.live. You might think, I've got a bit of a gap between 3 and 5 before I have to cook the evening meal when we get home from Auntie Jean's. I'll just drop on to GoRadio.live. How do you do that, Neil?
Well, let me tell you, if that happens between 3 and 5, you'll be hearing from Dr. Ann Webster and Lee Clarnett. Lee is a man who died 19 times between his home and hospital, and makes a very fine bottle of wine in the Grampians wine region, which you can buy as part of the Grampians wine region dozen that's on silent auction. How good's that?
Hey, is his nickname Two Cats?
Not that I'm aware.
Should be.
Should it?
Well, when you think about it, if he's died 17 times, he's only got one more, and that's Two Cats.
Well done. I hadn't thought of that.
Thank you very much.
Thinking Two Cats Clarnett. I think there must have been a footballer called Two Cats Clarnett or something. I might suggest that to him. Yes, so you can listen to it on GoRadio.live. So www.goradio.live. So there's no .com.au or anything on the end of this. .goradio.live, and on there you can see a listen live button which you can click and it will just come through your computer. If you have an Apple or Android device, you can download the free app from your App Store / Google Play. Just look for the logo, which is like a blue GO with some blue and white circle things coming out of it. But put in GoRadio.live because there's about 43,000 Go Radios across the world and they've all got an app.
Yep. Very, very careful on that. It is good. It's not only just good for today, it's actually good all the time. So if you're listening to 94.7 The Pulse and there's a show on that perhaps isn't tickling your fancy, in future you should pop onto that and have a bit of a listen. It's well worth it in the background while you're knitting or sewing or doing whatever it is that you do. You could be the CEO of a major company at home in the lounge room, and you can still listen to GoRadio.live while you're doing your work. It's not that hard. Even I've done it.
Even in Mildura.
can live in Mildura and do that. Katrina, I've said this before and I want to say it again. I know a lot of people... I would imagine there is a lot of people that have been through your life experience would be sitting in the corner sucking their thumb, feeling terribly sorry for yourselves. You have done the exact opposite, and I congratulate you again on your spirit, your enthusiasm and your passion to make someone else's life not the same as what you had to go through. And I think that is something that can't be said enough. So congratulations on what you have done, are doing, and I'm sure will do in the future to make heart disease better known and better looked after across our whole community. Good on you.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for the lovely words and the encouragement and support. Takes a lot of people to help me do this, including Neil with GoRadio.live and wonderful people like you that keep helping me share the message and the story. So thank you very much for everything that you've done for me.
Yeah, good luck to you both today and all the listeners that will tune in, and let's hope you blow that $10,000 to the Scheisenhausen and make life
20 now.
Oh my goodness gracious! Loving the sound of that. That is very good indeed. So, target has been changed. The little thermometer in the corner has been reassessed. It's now a $20,000 target. So, good luck to you both. Have fun with it, as I'm sure you will, because it is a fun day as well. But get as many people on. Headline act, Greg Page from the Wiggles will be one of many, many interesting people spoken about today. Lots of auction items to get involved in, and in amongst all that, some fantastic music. Oh, just on that, Neil, you're a great one for playing requests. What does one have to do to get a request played today?
Well, we've got limited spots available. I've got to say that because we have been inundated with requests in the last 24 hours. So the website is hearterday.com.au. So it's like Saturday, with heart instead of sat, right? Because I know there have been a few people looking for Heart A Day. It's Heart Day, URDAY, hearterday.com.au. Go in there and donate. If you donate $50 or more, you are entitled to put a request in for our 80s music party, which is starting tonight at 8 o'clock, goes through to midnight. Obviously, it needs to be a song from the 80s and a song that ideally is something that not some obscure thing no one's ever heard of. It's about people listening to music that takes them back to the 80s and all that. So you can go to hearterday.com.au and click on the donate button, and that will take you through to the Heart Foundation website. We'll be advised of that. You can then go to hearterday.com.au/requests, and you can place your request, and as long as you've made the $50 donation, job's done.
Well done. Good luck to you both. Have fun with it. We'll be talking to you next Saturday morning on the on the Two Blokes Chatting radio show. Again, Neil.
Emotional there, Ron.
Yeah, I am a bit of a that's better.
Well, you've got no one to take over in the studio when you want to have a cough.
No, that's the trouble. But I can press the button and turn myself off. Thank you to you both for your time. Good luck with today. May it go very well, and let's blow that 20,000 barrier out of the water now.
Well, it's sitting at 15,789 if you take in our silent auctions at the moment. So we're only $4,000 short.
Woohoo! Go get them. Thank you, Katrina. Thank you, Neil. Good luck.
Thanks, Rob.
All the best.